right, let's talk about the Celtics. I said at the beginning of the show, you're going to.
Yeah, go ahead.
At the beginning of the show, so last night I'm watching the game, and Celtics are up 20, and it looks like this is going to just be a complete annihilation, not only in game one, but for the remainder of the series. And I'm thinking, wow, that's so great. I get Cam on tomorrow. I think we can start talking about, will this Celtics team now climb its way into the annals of NBA history, right? Like, really, because they went to the finals, was it 3 years ago? Then they won the championship last year, and now they're going to win again, right? That's where my mind was going, and they're going to do it in a real convincing fashion. And now here we are down 1-0 thinking, wow. Jay Williams, by the way, on Get Up this morning was like, this would be the greatest implosion in Celtics history.
Shut up. God, they want them to win. They want the Knicks so bad. I think this is your angle into the ESPN world past the play-by-play broadcasting. You're a big Knicks fan as well. I think this would be a great way for you to angle it in. I mean, look, the Celtics have a long and storied history. They've probably had worse collapses. If they get swept by the Knicks, that would be completely inexcusable. That would be pretty awful. But this is one of the great. It was game one. Like, I'm pissed. Okay, I'm really bugged out from this. But it is game one. Jay Williams. I want to touch on some of your one of your points in there though, Pete. I talked about this on my show yesterday. If the Celtics do win again and they go back to back, especially if they beat Oklahoma City to do it, which you think they probably have to, even though Oklahoma City lost last night as well. I think we would look back on this team as a dynasty in like 10 years. Now, hear me out. Because for me, you've got to win 3 to be a dynasty. Like, that's a non-negotiable, okay? Back-to-backs are great. The Rockets, that's still something to be lauded, but it's not a dynasty. But I think now, with the second apron, the way that we see kind of the free agency salary cap working in the NFL for the last 20, 25 years, I think we are going to look back on a back-to-back champion differently 10 years from now. You'll say, man, the Celtics, they didn't win 3 out of 5, but they won back-to-back fairly convincingly, and then they had to break their team up because that's what the second apron does. Yeah. So I do think that they will be looked back on even more favorably in 10 years or so if they win the second championship. But last night was a disaster class, man. 15 of 60 from 3-point. Like, how do you do that? How do you take 23 more threes than the other team and are -6 from beyond the arc? And I get so frustrated because I am a big-time Jason Tatum defender, and the only thing that I think he's not elite at is three-point shooting. And for him to take 4 threes in the last 2 minutes of the game, in regulation anyway, when the Celtics are absolutely crumbling, they get a last chance, like last shot opportunity. They've called a timeout, and they're drawing up a Jason Tatum 3 when Jalen Brunson's on him. He's got like 7 inches on Jalen Brunson, and he's one of the best in the world at getting to the friggin' basket, and he's taking a contested 3 on him as a 34% three-point shooter, whatever the hell he is. Like, I hate that. That's what I hate, man. And it sounds so old school, and I will go on a different kind of tirade in my show, so you won't miss it. But I know it's so old school to say, and it's kind of almost lazy to the point where you're like, well, at some point you don't hit threes. Why don't you just get to the basket? Like, they should have, man. They've got Tatum, who has just developed so great as a finisher in the last couple of years. Jaylen Brown is unstoppable at getting, downhill to the basket. Drew Holiday can finish amongst anybody in the paint. And yet it's just 3 after 3 after 3. And it was so frustrating to watch, man. I mean, credit to the Knicks for coming back, no doubt. But the Celtics just kept giving them the ball, man. Just kept taking low percentage shots.
And you saw late in the game, by the way, Reggie Miller did a nice job pointing it out, how wide open Drew Holiday was just cutting to the basket because the Knicks were so focused, right, on stopping the 3. I think early in the game they were sort of baiting them into it, but then late in the game, Cam, you all right? Look, he muted for us.
That went down the wrong pipe.
All right, take your time.
Keep talking. Just keep talking.
No, but bring him back. Bring him back, please. I want to be able to at least see my buddy.
How else would you know that I'm alive again?
Um, no, so they finally started to take some of those opportunities down the stretch. The one thing, because I was rooting for the Knicks, that was really impressive about the Celtics was their ability to get offensive rebounds and continue to give themselves second shots, second chance opportunities down the stretch. I want to ask you as a Celtics fan, because it has to be frustrating, Jalen Brunson. Like, I don't, I'm a fan, but I still am. Every time I watch him, I don't have the, I guess, elite respect for him. I maybe should have, because every time I watch him play, again, I'm like, man, this guy is better than I thought. I think I get so stuck on his size, maybe, and maybe the fact that he's not so scintillating to watch down the stretch, but he does get it done. As an opposing fan, are you very fearful of Jalen Brunson? Is he someone who you're like, he has the ball late, oh no, or what?
I mean, kind of. I mean, I think he's a top 10 player in the league, so you got to be somewhat fearful of him, right? But what is the silver lining for kind of this Twitter age of NBA fandom is the fact that, yeah, Jason Tatum missed some shots down the stretch, but Jalen Brunson missed a layup to win the game. A layup. Like, I don't know how he missed that. And so there's no grand discussion of, oh, wow, Jason Tatum wishes he was Jalen Brunson kind of thing. But I mean, yeah, he's a good player. And I think the thing that really worries me in a crunch time situation is it's almost not even in your defender's hands anymore. The guy is so expert at getting to the free throw line that it then becomes, and there's some real, this is a really smart thing to do in a lot of situations. You kind of put it in the ref's hands, and I mean, Harden did that for years. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander does it in Oklahoma City. It's frustrating as holy hell to watch. But that's where my main point of frustration comes from. Jalen Brunson, terrific player. Not as good as Tatum overall, but good player, man. And
how do you feel about the Celtics for the rest of the season? I mean, rest of the series. Are you kind of like, because a lot of times these teams will lose a game one. You know what I mean? It happens. And then they go back and they win 4 in a row.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that they hit like 7 out of 30 wide open catch and shoot threes, I think is going to give me some confidence that they won't do that again. But what I hate in the playoffs is, like, I do go to that well of like, well, that's your one game that's going to happen. It's like, well, maybe. I mean, the Rockets did that 0 for 27 from 3 in a game 7 a couple years ago, and you can't just piss away games in the playoffs. Like that's where I'm like, that's where you lose me. In the regular season, you're like, oh yeah, okay, they had back-to-back bad shooting games. They'll probably hit 40 tonight, But in the playoffs, it's like, yeah, hopefully, but you're going to leave that to chance. You're just going to throw a game away. You're just going to punt a game 1 on your home court in the playoffs. And that's what it felt like the Celtics were doing. They didn't adjust at all in the second half. Tatum and Brown did not shoot the ball well at all in the second half. They didn't hunt mismatches. And while I think the Celtics have great role players, if you're going to make this a role player series, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. Like, you look at the 2 stars of each team. Tatum is better than Brunson, and Brown is better than Karl Anthony Towns. I don't know how much you can flip-flop that. I don't know that Brown's better than Jalen Brunson, but you've got the superstar advantage on any given night. And so when you're making it a role player series, when your stars aren't going to show up in the second half of a game, you're leaving yourself very vulnerable. There is only so much that Derek White can do, that Drew Holiday can do, and Kristaps Porzingis, the limit on him doing anything is apparently 0. He gives you absolutely nothing.
What's going on with him? Do you have any information on like what this illness is or what's happening?
I have no idea, and we didn't get any word of what it really was in February, where he missed like 2 weeks, and it was just viral illness. And he has sucked in this postseason. He's been a big-time liability for them, and he leaves the game, late first half, early second half, and just doesn't come back into it. And again, it's an illness thing.
Dude, you don't want to speculate either, because that's another word for guessing, but like it could be something serious. Like it could be like when you...
Could be. I mean, the guy's always hurt. It's usually something.
But when they say viral, like, and you're like constantly battling fatigue, it's like... that could be a big deal. I have no idea, but that could be a bigger deal. It's not like when I was working in the NBA and Melvin Ely went to a strip club the night before and was out with flu-like symptoms the next day. That was a little different. But
maybe he just does that all the time. Maybe he just did it for like 2 straight weeks in February.
That was always the best, though. You know that this guy was hungover, and he'd skip shoot around and just be in the training room, and then you'd see he was out with flu-like symptoms. I was like, wow, he's really taking this all the way to the finish line.
Sunday matinee in New York.